Today, I'm going to be talking about how I tripled my salary with tech sales, going from 30K now to $90,000 in just 2 years. I want to talk about what I was doing before tech sales. So, before I got into tech sales, I was in real estate. I was a realtor and I was doing mortgage inspection. So, I'm sure you know what being a realtor is, but if you don't know, a mortgage inspector is someone who goes out to the property when the person who owns the house has fallen behind on their mortgage. So I'm pretty much the Grim Reaper coming out to your house, taking pictures of your house, and dropping off letters letting you know that the bank wants their money. So, as you might imagine, that job was not the best. People were not very receptive to me. Long story short, it wasn't as lucrative as I thought. I had to put a bunch of miles on my car, driving essentially 7 to 8 hours a day, sometimes more. And somebody chased me down the road one day. So I quickly realized that this was not a long term role for me. The person before me did it for years, literal years, which I find insane, but it was a white man. Anywho, I really wanted flexibility in the sense that I wasn't sure that I wanted to live in the area that I was practicing real estate and doing mortgage inspections. I wanted a remote job. I also wanted stability. I wanted a base salary. So my brother, he had been in tech sales for over 10 years, so he told me about it and I listened. Not the first time. He's been in my ear ever since I kind of got into sales before real estate, and real estate kind of won me over. Definitely had to get out of real estate and mortgage inspections. So that led me to my job search. So after my hours and hours of listening to podcasts, which I will link down below, the ones that I found helpful, figuring out tech sales, and watching YouTube videos and all that good stuff, I went to work. So the summer of 2022, I realized that I wanted to have an SDR job. I was very specific, and I spent literal hours every single day putting in applications. I applied to jobs all summer, literally 3 months. I can't imagine what the job market is now. Is terrible, I know that, but it was really hard when I was trying to find a role. I was working with a company called Rams that supported XDRs to get a job in the field. So they help you prepare your resume, they go over interview questions with you, and they pair you with companies that are hiring and they prep you on those interviews. So a really valuable resource. I'll link them down below, but I'm not sure if they are still providing similar services and if it's still free. But regardless, it was really helpful. I gave up at the end of the summer. My best friend had just moved from Columbus, Ohio, and I moved to Washington D.C. She was asking me all summer if I wanted to go with her, and I was like, no, like I don't have a job, I don't know, like I don't really have anything going on right now, and I don't want to leave my ex at the time, my boyfriend. So my best friend left, and a month later, I was following her to DC. So I really didn't care if I had a job or not, but literally the week before I was planning to move, I got a job at Angie's List. So Angie's List, it was a sales role. It was fully cold calling contractors all day and trying to get them on the platform. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't really a tech sales role, but it was sales adjacent and I needed a job. So I interviewed with Zendesk uh I think a week or so before I got Angie's List. And then the week I got to DC, Zendesk reached out for a follow-up interview. Did that. They asked for an assignment of just pitching Zendesk. I sent that and I got the job. So I worked Angie's List for about 2 weeks and I quit. I just wonder what my life would have looked like if Zendesk didn't reach out because I really gave up on tech sales. I was like, I'm just going to work for Angie's List. And I had a couple other opportunities that I was considering taking. And, the universe, I think, chose for me. I believe my on target earnings was like $60,000 or something. I'll put the salary here. On target earnings, if you don't know, is OTE for short. In sales, you have a mixture of a base and a commission aspect. I'll put the salary information somewhere on the screen, but regardless, I went from 30K that I made in 2022 to now I was able to work remotely. I was really proud of myself. At Zendesk, I was an SDR, which is a sales development representative, which is entry level in the tech sales space. An SDR at Zendesk meant I was working fully inbound leads, so I wasn't doing any cold calling. I was just taking meetings and booking them for my account executives. The meetings being qualifying these customers to make sure it's a good fit. Those qualifying questions of, what's bringing you to Zendesk? What are you currently doing? What are you trying to improve? How many agents will you need? Pretty much your budget, your timeline, all that good stuff. And then, moving that towards the account executive to further progress this customer into a sale. I was really, really grateful for that job. It was so pivotal to my success now. It was literally the easiest job I ever had. Anyone could do that job. I was literally just anyone who raised their hand, said, I want Zendesk, I'd call them, qualify them, set the meeting for my account executive. It was really just a numbers game. I made so much more. I think I made 150% of my quota. So I'll put how much I made my first year. So it was really like my first taste at like, okay, wow, this is really what sales can do for you. With a company like Zendesk that's more established, I'm really good at having a task and executing on it, but I really like having the rules set in place for me. So I didn't have to figure out the sales process. It was already laid out for me. I just had to act on it, and do it better than everyone else and have better systems in place. I'll put all of my accomplishments here, but I was a killer SDR. I wish I would have appreciated that role more because it was so easy in hindsight, and I should have really taken advantage of that and traveled more. But anyways, so then I spent a year in that role in 2023, and then in 2024 I was promoted to an outbound enterprise role, which was the BDR role, which is business development representative. And I was really excited. That was the traditional trajectory at Zendesk. You go inbound, you work outbound, and then you become account executive. And it usually takes about 12 to 18 months for each transition. 12 months, 13 months fully in seat as an SDR, and then I became a BDR. And I'll put my new OTE here. I had an awesome manager, love her to death. She was such a cheerleader, and I really needed someone to cheer me on in that role because it is so tough, and everyone around me was really struggling. It was awesome because the SDR role was so easy. I was really looking for a challenge, and with it being all outbound, I got what I asked for. It was incredibly challenging. I had a lot more autonomy on when my day started and ended, and that didn't mean I wasn't working. I was definitely working a ton. But I could choose my schedule. I could choose when I call people. I wasn't reliant on my customers to book on my calendar. Like pretty much I was calling all day. Also, I was more strategic in this role. Whereas before it really is just a numbers game. Like when people say they want Zendesk, call them, schedule it, qualify them, book the meeting for the account executive, make sure the customer shows up, and then have the account executive flip the sale. You get paid, move on. As a BDR, people aren't raising their hands. Some of them are in some ways, but you have to get really strategic. So I was using a mixture of tools like 6sense, ZoomInfo, and Past Success. Current customers, leveraging those to get quicker wins, and you had to be strategic. You had to use your brain, and I really learned how to manage account executive relationships. Like those are so important in a role like that, especially outbound. Like your account executives are your paycheck. Like they determine your paycheck. There was a lot of kissing ass in that role. There was a lot of, bending over backwards and just really navigating that relationship because they do pay you, but you also are valuable. And I had to learn that this wasn't like I'm your situation. This is like I'm helping you and I need you to help me help you. So let's work together as a team. So that role really required me to kind of step my up, for lack of better words. All that being said, I really hated that role. It was really a struggle. It is paying your dues, really. No one wanted to be a BDR for long. Like, there are very few people who like the XDR role. It has its benefits, but that role is a stepping stone. So I hated it. It was really hard. I didn't realize how anxious I was until I left the role. The company culture wasn't amazing. We got bought out. Actually, the month or the quarter that I joined, and things just started changing, and things were getting harder. Quota was getting less and less attainable, and the support from leadership wasn't always there. So again, really relied on my manager for that support because otherwise I would have left a lot sooner. But there were layoff after layoffs, and yeah, I mean, I did hit quota every month, literally by the skin of my teeth, and I was better off than a lot of folks, and to be 6 months into that role and hitting quota every month, like that's definitely a feat. Um, it was a hard adjustment because as an SDR, I hit 150%. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing 50% less better, but the outbound role is a beast. So I'm really proud of myself for getting through that and hitting a quota every month and, maintaining that consistency. But as I said, things were getting harder. Sales goals were moving further away. And the qualifications to become an account executive were also getting harder and less attainable. So I started to entertain other options. That leads me to finding my current company that I'm at. So I work at a company called Headway. We support the mental health field, specifically therapists and psychologists and those around the mental health space, and also supporting the patient. So I think we've had over 1 million sessions on Headway. So we're the number one company in the space, beating out our competitors by more than half. So really proud of that. But anyways, no ad for Headway. But if you are a therapist or a psychologist or a mental health provider in your area, contact me below. So we can get you credentialed for free, completely free, get you enhanced rates. Headway actually reached out to me in the beginning of January of this year, but I was like, no, I'm really excited to join this new team. My manager's awesome. I'm content at Zendesk. Things changed over the few months, and then I reached back out to that recruiter. I saw they were still hiring. Went through that process incredibly quick. I'd have an interview, and they'd let me know the next day or the following that I'd be moving forward. I think it was about 4 or 5 calls. So I made that switch July 15th. That was my first day. That was my first day at Headway and my last day at Zendesk. I tried to do both jobs, but I couldn't. I thought I could, but I could not. So I quit. I put in my 2 week notice, but I was supposed to do them both that last week just because the timing was off and I didn't put in my 2 week notice soon enough because I wasn't sure if it was real. Don't know what's going through my head. But yeah, so July 15th was my first day. And oh my gosh, like what a breath of fresh air being at a company where they truly value you and the CEO is present and the changes that are made you are a part of and you're first to hear in a way that's empathetic and the team isn't phony, like everyone truly supports one another. And I feel whenever I talk about the company I feel so corny because it's like whenever I would look at people and hear they have such good experiences with their companies and like they really love the people that they work with, I'm like, oh my god, like this corporate jargon. But um no, like I love Headway. I really do. I love my team. I love the company. I love what we stand for, and they really support us. And I really can't say enough good things about them. We're actually hiring right now. So again, link in the bio. I am now an account executive, so kind of finally getting to that position that we all want to be as an XDR. So this is really like the start of your really the growth in tech sales. Like once you're here, it's really only up from here. Like I can take this job and do so many different things. So I'm so excited and so proud of myself to finally be here. And it only took me, 2 years to do it. So starting from 30K to now making $91,000 a year is really amazing. And of course, there's the commission aspect where you can exceed. And this last month, I made 156% of my quota. I was the number one in my cohort. So I'm hoping that I can cross that 100K figure this year, but we'll see how that goes. But it's just so liberating. And for all my XDRs who are now AEs, you know what I'm saying. Having full control over your work is so liberating. It's just such a great feeling not having to rely on an AE. Tech as a career, I, from the beginning, wanted flexibility and I got that. I could move anywhere in the country. At Zendesk, I was able to work remotely for 3 months out of the country. So you have those opportunities available to you in tech. It's very lucrative, very lucrative. You know, I'm 24. I'm gonna be making 6 figures. I'm putting that into words before my 25th birthday, and I started this again 2 years ago. Like being 2 years in an industry and making almost 6 figures is unheard of. There's not many industries where you can do that. So the account executives that I was supporting at Zendesk, they were clearing like 300 to $500,000 a year. A year. That's insane money. Like that is 1%, I think. Um, so yeah, I really can't say enough good things about tech. Now where I'm at, I have to remind myself most days that I literally manifested the life that I have. I wanted to be able to pick up and move my life if I wanted to. I'm 24 again. I started when I was 22, so didn't know what I wanted to do in life, where I wanted to be. All that I knew is that I wanted to have a stable income and a career that would support me with how all over the place I am. I try my best to take a step back and just show gratitude because this is really the life that I imagined for myself, and it's only just beginning. Now I'm realizing that my dreams are only getting bigger and bigger, and now my dream is to dedicate time to social media. A year from now, I want to have doubled my following on TikTok, and I want to have 10,000 subscribers, I think, or I think I want to double my subscriber count too, and I want to make $10,000 from social media a year from now. So I think those are very modest goals because this job is so flexible. And yes, it is a hard job, but in comparison to a lot of other roles, it's not the hardest. I mean, I work from home. Like, how hard could it be? It's quite cushy. The stress of sales, I will not deny, is something that is a struggle to adjust to, and it really doesn't ever go away because your quota is always resetting. I don't envision myself in sales forever, but for now, I just can't see myself leaving because of the money. So my dreams are getting bigger. Now I can focus on, like, okay, what else can I do? Because I am so good at my job. Like, I can take on a social media part-time role, creating my brand or reliving that up. Or reigniting my brand. This is giving me the earning power to go and buy a home. Like, I'm able to. I left DC. Now I'm in San Diego for 3 months. I'm going to Ohio in 2 months to buy a home. So this role has been life changing for me, this career, and I can't say enough good things about it. Yeah, that has been my journey in tech sales. If you're thinking about making a change in your career, you're wanting something more flexible, more lucrative, um, tech sales is definitely a way to go. So I'll make sure to link some resources below that I think are helpful. And my next video will be how to get a sales role. So make sure you check that out, subscribe, and stay tuned. And if you have any questions, let me know. I would love to support. Um, I always say, like, I really do mean it, that I would love to support people to get into tech sales. That is another goal of mine, is to help a handful of people get into tech. So use me as a resource. Would love to help you. And thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck with whatever it is that you're doing. See ya.